Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Evolve, where we are constantly changing, constantly growing to better people. So joining us today is Edwin Moracha, CEO of Red Wave Advertising, and today we'll be dealing with mental health. We'll be having a conversation on how mental health looks in men. So Karibu Edwin,
Yes,
please introduce yourself.
Yes, she said my name is Edwin, and I'm glad to be here today to talk about mental health in men. Yeah, so as men, we suffer a lot from mental ailments or illness, if I may say. And one issue with us, we never talk about it. We are always quiet, we are closed people, and we never display that we are suffering from mental health.
Why is that so?
I think it's our nature as men that we are closed people. We are not able to talk about it. Very few men come out and say that either they have depression or they are going through some hardship. So it is.
Is it because you fear being judged?
Most definitely, we are scared of being judged or look to be people of, people maybe will see us as different people.
As weak?
Or as weak, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now what do you do? Because you're here, you're having all the symptoms, you're feeling probably lonely, suicidal. So now what happens?
I think the society has put so much pressure on men. We're expected to do so many things from our spouses, from our families. And I think it contributes a lot to us, experiencing all these kinds of mental illnesses. So if we are, as a man, if I'm faced with, maybe let me speak for myself, definitely if I am going through something, I would not want to show it to my relatives or my mother or my wife or someone close to me because it points out to be a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
So I will keep it to myself and, try to figure out how I'm going to get through it.
Even with your friends, like you can't even talk to your friends.
Like I said, men, we are closed people.
Yeah.
I don't know. For myself, I will say I have so many friends, but me opening up to that one person, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sad to hear that because now maybe you're a parent and maybe your baby boy is suffering from something. From man to man, can you see it? Is that something that we raise boys telling them that they can't share? Or what causes that?
Unfortunately not. But if I'm talking to my son, definitely at this moment, I will encourage him to talk to me if they're going through something. But if I look back, the relationship I had with my dad, definitely there's no way I will sit down and tell him that I'm going through something. Or I never had my dad sit down and tell us he's going through something. So that has been passed to us. That as a man, unakula ngumu. Yeah, just deal with it and you'll get over it. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I'm laughing. Is there an activity or activities rather that men can do to release this? Because there's a lot of pressure. You need to provide, you need to be present, you need to be happy. There's a lot of pressure. So
definitely, there is a lot of expectations that we, as men, have been, we are expected to do a lot. Of course, like you mentioned, we are supposed to provide. We are supposed to, of course, invest, be somewhere in life. Let's say if you're 35, by the time you get to 40, you're supposed to be somewhere. You're supposed to drive this nice car. you know, and of course at home, or your wife also expects you to perform. You see, so all this, you know, it builds pressure on you as a man. And then, of course, to deal with all these pressures, definitely you need to do something.
Yeah.
And for me, I will advise men maybe to get a hobby, you know. Like for me, I play golf. That's something that, you know, when I'm on the golf course, I forget all my problems. You see.
It's healthy.
Yes. So, you know, get a hobby, find something to do that, you know, sort of keeps your mind off from the pressures that, you know, will at some point subdue you to mental illness. Apart from doing something that you love, I would also encourage men to talk, you know, find someone you can talk to. Find that one friend that you can confide to and be able to speak to them and tell them your issues, you know. I mean, also one problem that men are scared of, if I tell you my issues, then you'll be out there talking about it to each and every other person. So find that one person. It really doesn't have to be a man. It can be also a woman, you know, either your girlfriend, your wife, or just a close friend. Yeah, so as men, let's talk, you know, find something to do.
I agree. So you're my friend, or let's say a spouse, you spot all the signs of mental illness in them. How do you approach them in such a way that they don't feel as if you're seeing them as weak, or as if you're attacking them, or as if you're labeling them? How do you approach a man to seek help if you notice like they're not so mentally okay?
I think if you want to be able to help a man who's going through mental illness, I think the first thing that you need to gain his trust. You know, let's say if it's your wife or your girlfriend who's noticed that, you know, my man has an issue going on. So I think the first thing, just ensure that that man trusts you. And from that trust, then he will open up and be able to, you know, lay it down and tell you that this is what I'm going through. Yes, so I think trust is very key in, you know, getting into a man's mind and having him open up to you and be able to, you know, air out or vent out all the issues that they are going through.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how do I ensure that you trust me?
Trusting you as a woman trusting
as a girlfriend, as a woman, as a wife, as a sister, as a friend. How do I ensure that it's easy for you to open up with me as a man?
Definitely, of course, trust is built. Trust doesn't come overnight. Of course, if it's a spouse, if you're talking about a spouse or a girlfriend, definitely, for you to gain a man's trust, definitely you guys have had to come through a journey to get to where you are. So depends on how you guys have been interacting and things of that nature. So definitely trust is built.
Yeah.
And of course, when a man will gain your trust as a woman, if, you know, there are situations in life that you two will be exposed to, and how you react to those situations is what will inform the guy to trust you. Yeah. So based on that, once you have the trust, the man will open up and be able to share with you the issues, you know, that he's going through.
So we identify, yes, there is a struggle with mental health. How do I support you?
Of course, acceptance is the first thing. And do not judge. You know, do not go out there and talk about me to each and every person that, you know, this guy is going through some episode of depression or suicidal thoughts. You see, so Yeah, so that is the only way you can be able to help a man who is going through some form of mental illness.
And when you can't accept it, but I can see it, what do I do?
You can accept it that me as a man going through the maybe now you need to move a step further. Maybe get someone close to me or close to your man to be able to speak to this particular man. I mean, naturally, men, we are a bit closer to our moms. So if you were my girlfriend or my wife, then start with my mother. Talk to my mother. I think you will get a bit closer to me. So just find someone who this man is more comfortable with, and then you approach him from that angle. Yeah.
So you said the way you were raised up is a bit different from the way you will raise your son. So how, I'm also a mother of a boy, so how do we raise them so that they are a bit open and they don't see opening up as such, like as if they are weak? Or how do we raise them to be vulnerable and to embrace vulnerability?
I think it's a delicate balance of, raising kids not to appear weak and also be vulnerable so that they're able to share bad experiences that they're going through. Like for me, my son, I have created an environment where he's able to just walk in and share with me anything without me retaliating back and maybe castigating him to be either a bad boy or, and kids nowadays, they're exposed to a lot of things that maybe over time they will affect them mentally. So definitely one thing, I've always tried to make sure that my son is not exposed to such things, and at the same time create a conducive environment where we can just sit down and be free and talk about, anything, jokes, so that this kid can be able to not feel scared when they want to, talk about an issue that is affecting them. Yeah.
So research was done and it showed that men are likely to commit suicide 3 times more than a woman. I would attribute it to us guys, when we have a problem, we talk it out. As you said, for a man, it's hard. So should men form like support groups where they can create safe spaces and they go and talk about it? Should we normalize men seeking therapy? Or now, how do we just, try and
Definitely
improve
support groups will, I'm sure, will play a very critical role in supporting men. But again, it boils down to the willingness, because men in nature, if you tell a man to go for counseling, if they have an issue, they will refuse. If you ask a man to sit down and talk about something in particular that is affecting them, they'll still have an issue. And it boils down to the fact that we don't want to be seen as people who are weak. So I think people who are close to these men, they need just to keep talking to them and convincing them that it is essential for them to, seek either advice or medical help in the event that they're experiencing some sort of mental illness. Yeah.
I agree. So there's nothing for a man to lean on, even God?
Oh, definitely. God plays a critical role. As much as not so many or not everyone subscribes to, religion in terms of mental health or in any other thing, but I think God also, and prayers can work miracles. So yeah, God can, get a man out of a situation. Let's say even if it's depression or suicidal thoughts, as much as we need professional help, at the same time, prayers can also help. Yes.
So thank you so much. Is there something you feel like I have not been able to touch, yet it is very crucial to this topic on mental health and men?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe one thing I can point out is that I think as men, we need to lower our expectations. I think sometimes we have very high expectations, or very high expectations have been placed upon us, to achieve. Mm-hmm. And during the process of achieving these high expectations, then we find ourselves, going through a lot, depression, mm-hmm. suicidal thoughts, and such things. So let's lower expectations, and just be a believer that life is too short, and just achieve what you can achieve at the time that you're here, and just enjoy life. And just don't be on a rat race to achieve so many things that will just give you stress.
I agree. I really agree. I think that is so beautifully said. And something I've noticed with men is you tend to be very competitive with each other.
Definitely.
Can that attribute to why it's so hard to be vulnerable with each other? Even as women, we break each other down. But when we are down, we are really there for each other. So I am trying to draw a pattern, or
most definitely, men, if I'm competing against you to be somewhere, let's say, I want to achieve all this wealth, and definitely you're my competitor, so to speak. So I will not be able to lower my guard and come to you and tell you that, hey, I'm going through this. My marriage is on the rocks, or I'm going through an anxiety episode, or a depression. So, it comes back to what I was saying earlier, that as men, let's lower our expectations. I think half of our mental illnesses as men can be reduced by just lowering our expectations and just being satisfied with what we have or what we achieve. Yes.
I agree. I really love that, lower our expectation.
Yes.
So is there anything else we might not have tackled that is
not
important?
That I can think of at the moment, but of course it's a continuous discussion, and I'm sure in the next episodes we can speak about and dig deeper on how, as men, even the support groups that you're mentioning, we can create support groups for men, where we can come and meet, open up, have fun, and, just feel comfortable, and feel like I'm not the only one who's going through all this. There are other men also who are going through it.
Because in real sense, you're not the only one.
Yes, exactly. So I think on the space of having support groups for men, I'm not sure if there is any out there. Maybe we just need to investigate and find out if there is a group. If we have one, definitely it's something that, we can share out to, men. I've always seen even boot camps for men, where and men
golf,
meet.
There is no club like for...
Not really. In golf, most people just meet and have fun, play golf and have a drink, and they go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably that's something we can look into.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming and just having this conversation with me. I really do appreciate it.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. If you need Edwin to advertise for you, he really does really nice signages and stuff. And we can share your email address below.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. And that's it for today. If you have any other topic you want us to talk about, kindly comment below. So bye. Cheers.